Good evening and welcome to Blue Dream Love and Wellness. Tonight was to be an open forum for anybody or anyone that had any questions about the emotion code, the body code, the belief code, or any facets of Wellness Incorporated, whether it's supplementation, whether it's different techniques, what different kind of detoxes or building that we can do for our bodies, working with chakras, learning about the meridians, learning that you've all heard through manifestation about 333, the coordination of numbers. Well, our beautiful man that just passed, Lloyd Mears, had beautiful books on numbers, and they were very apropos because every time you tested for one, you could write it down, you could journal it, you could tap it in, and by golly, by gum, you'd see those numbers flash by you for the next several days. There's also the lovely Court of Atonement that we can work by Amy Jo Ellis, where we can put ourselves and the imbalance, the problem, the person, the thing, the item into a full court of atonement that will put it upon the divine's level to touch. When we work with chakras, yes, there are major chakras that we work with, the 7, but remember we are to work with the 7 layers, but there are much deeper layers that lay within. And then there's all the micro little chakras that we have, our mouth, our eyes, our hands, every joint, bone, muscles. It's very amazing that once you balance, per se, someone was having a pain in their elbow, and you were to go in and find out that there was an imbalance within that patella that actually led to a broadcast message, and that broadcast message, something to the effect of rescue me. And within that rescue me, you can't find an underlying, but then you ask, is that chakra happy or not? And it's not. And then you find the imbalance, and the ripple effect that it causes is what is the amazing thing about our journey to wellness. We can do so many beautiful enhancements to our lives and to keep us well, utilizing the emotion code, the body code, the belief code, the AO scanner, working with all different sorts of things. All of us have books beyond books, I would hope. The one that I've been using for years is what's called Nutritional Healing. And it has most diseases in here, but I have like 10 books on nutritional healing. And you can go in and you can find the disease itself, and it will explain the disease process, but it will also tell you what vitamins, herbs, supplements, foods that your body does need and what you should not be utilizing. But you just don't want to follow that 100%. Again, you want to utilize that applied kinesiology and to be able to muscle test. Is this for my highest good or is this not? So is this or is this not? Something else we can do, and I'm sure you've all heard of medical medium. This guy has thing down, and I've used some of his recipes. Some of these are really awesome. If you watch him online, he is a busy little bee and all over the place, but his stuff is good and honest and works beautiful. What I have been working on, as you all know, is Donna Eden and Eden Energy Medicine, being able to touch different places on your body and to get the energy to actually move. And yes, you can learn that and do that and allow the whole energy system of everything in your body to actually function properly. Now, we all know that that energy gets stagnant from within. So when we apply these energy techniques, that allows us the blessings to bless others, and we could keep going. So, one of the things that people don't realize is when they have a health issue, and they don't stop to think about it, it normally starts in the gut, not every single time. But the gut issues lead to so many things within our body. Remember, you've got Candida. Candida, as we've talked about before, has 14 to 16 strains and can cause a multitude of issues on our body. That's why it's so important to muscle test. Make sure what we're eating, make sure what we're doing for the homeostasis of our body, because that's what it's mostly about, is it not? So what I want you to do, whoops, I just touched that button. What I want you to do, if you would please, if you have something that you have questions about, please put it in the chat box if you like, or you could just unmute and blab them right at me. It's whatever you feel. When you work with me, I just don't go over the little tiny top layer. We go deeper. Because of the simple fact, things just aren't on one level, are they not? Things
No,
go much deeper within our life, right?
absolutely.
Okay. So one of the things I learned early on doing this, and a lot of people don't do this, but anatomy and physiology flashcards. These are amazing. Yes, we can go a little bit deeper. Do you want to look at that again? I'm sorry, Jeff. We can look at other things and go deeper, but these flashcards are scientific publishing that's from a leading medical publisher, and they go deep. They go into every organ, gland, and it also works with German medicine, which we need to stop and really think about, because they've got some other ways that we don't utilize here in the United States that we really should reach out and learn. There's so many things with our nutrition itself that can be very frightening for us, unfortunately. Yes, I can go over muscle testing. Thank you, Jeffrey. As we know, applied kinesiology is one of the most important things when we work with our body, correct? Because if we don't have this down, it can cause us to muscle test for the wrong things or not to know what we're doing. So the main thing is, like Dr. Brad taught from the get-go, you want the divine to come through you. You want to take your ego and wrap it over here, because many times our ego sways us one way or another, because we've got those two voices in there. Oh, you can do this. No, you can't do this. So you have to remove that ego. And then you also want to stay as neutral as possible. You know what I mean about that? So the first thing I want you to start practicing on, Jeff, is just your name. I am Jeff, I'm not Bob. I'm Jeff, I'm not Bob. You can do it this way, this way, this way, this way, elbow ways. What feels, I know that you've got your pendulum down, right? Okay, you've got that down to where your yes spins to the, and here, all I have to do is say yes and it spins to the right. And then watch, no, and it'll turn right back around. It's amazing how in tuned they are to us. So when you muscle test, Jeff, how are you doing it? Go ahead and take yourself off speaker, hon.
I will do like you told me. I asked for the divine to answer for me and not allow my ego conscious or subconscious to answer. And then I ask for clockwise positive yes, counterclockwise negative no. And then I ask
Okay.
the question, and then I get there's been times where it'll just sit there and do nothing. And there are times when it might go straight up and down and basically doing nothing. But most of the time I'll get a yes or a no.
The reason that it goes backwards and forwards like that
Mhm.
is because that's a neutral answer. It's
Right.
not swaying one way, it's not swaying the other, it's just neutral within the pattern.
Right.
So with your hands, what type of hand muscle testing are you trying to utilize? Hi,
Well, I
Jennifer.
haven't really
Hi,
tried in a
Debbie.
while because I've never had success. So I've always gone back to the pendulum because it always seems to work for me.
Do you want me to see if there's something blocking you from muscle testing?
Yeah, it's right here.
It's right in that cranium, man. I don't want to do it. I don't feel comfortable doing it.
It's the brain bucket.
Do you want me to see?
You can.
Okay. So how many times a day do you actually practice, Jeff?
There might be days I go without it, and there might be, I'll be sitting in my office and I have some questions, and I'll sit here and do it for a while. It's
Okay.
not an everyday, all day thing. Sometimes
Okay.
sometimes if I'm not getting success, I'll walk away and I'll come back later.
Okay.
Or if it's just not, if it's like kind of getting stuck a little bit, I'll walk away, and then later on I'll come back and do it. But it's not an all day, everyday thing. It's
When you're asking your questions, do
Mhm.
you have an intention before you ask the question?
I don't necessarily have an intention. It's more of a curiosity. I want to know what, which way to go or how to think or,
You
you know,
haven't already swayed yourself one
no,
way or another.
no.
Okay.
I,
Because
I, I've
what
actually,
it's
I've
telling,
actually, I've actually, when I'm doing it, I'll say yes or no, and it'll answer, one way or the other. But I won't sit there and say yes. I won't do that. Or
okay. It's telling me you have no will to feel feelings because of the fear. So are you afraid when you're utilizing these type of methods that you're going to sway a different answer, or you're afraid that you're going to do it wrong?
probably more to do it wrong than anything else.
Okay. Remember that when we practice, it's all about a learning curve. It's not about being wrong or right. The more we practice, the more intuitively we grow.
Mhm.
Let me see if there's anything else. Take a breath for me. Does that connect for you? And you've got a lot of noradrenaline on it. So you're really overthinking about it when you're doing it, and that will sway that. Okay, take a breath for me again. Okay, how does that feel? Try to muscle test. My name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff. I mean, it's not.
Okay, it's not strength. It's a very light touch.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
See, for me, this is too much. I have to do it this way or this way.
No, it just. I've never had success with this at all. Like I said, the pendulum, I have no problem.
Okay.
I mean, is my name Jeff? Well, is my name Jeff? I haven't gone through my thing yet, but
Okay. Well, we can work on that, Jeff, if you want to learn
yeah, I
how
mean,
to
I'm getting
actually
a
do
yes
that.
out of it. I mean, it's not.
Okay. As long as you can get what you need out of it.
Mhm.
I know that it's difficult. A lot of people do struggle with muscle testing. And when I first learned 16 years ago, I don't know if Dr. Brad is still teaching this, but he tells you 100 times a day. Practice 100 times a day.
And that's on everything.
That's on everything. You're
Right. Your clothing, what are you going to eat? What are you going to drink?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, should I not go out?
Mm-hmm. What jewelry, what herbs to put in your food. You can muscle test anything and everything. I muscle test what I'm gonna wear the night before I go to bed for what I'm gonna wear the next day. I muscle test which socks. You can do anything and everything.
And that's why Cynthia doesn't get to go to the grocery store with me, because it takes hours to shop because everything's tested.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Debbie,
But
if you want to show your face, you can, hon. It's all good. So
we lose Jennifer.
Yep, we lost Jennifer. I don't know what happened. So remember the techniques, whatever. So sometimes when we work with clients, remember that hormones play in so many factors within our organs and glands and our systems, right?
Right.
We have so many of them. The main ones, not all, but main ones come from our pituitary gland, because the pituitary gland is the homeostasis of everything, correct?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
remember the one hold that you hold your hands here and here to be able to do this, to balance our hormones. But another thing that we can do when at times our muscle testing is not 100%. Oh, I've tried,
on
you
the video.
tried what, hon? Let me see what it says. I'm sorry. Let me get over here to chat. Boy, it changed. I just love it when these guys change everything on you. I tried to let video amenable and it sound, oh, you can't get on. Oh, I wonder if it's the doggone weather.
Can she go out and come back in?
I don't know, Debbie, can you go out and come back in, hon, and try that? I don't know if that'll work or not.
She should show back up.
Well, yeah, that'll be the same link. There's
Kind of like
Jennifer.
kind of like a
There's-
reboot.
Yep, and see if it'll work. But if not, that's cool. I know you're there. If you've got a question, Debbie, please
We
don't
lost her.
hesitate. Don't, oops, I
She's
lost.
gone.
Please don't hesitate to put it in the chat box. So one thing that we can do that I like doing for, and I only do this 3 times a week, but I go in to the AO scanner. And you probably can't see that. It doesn't show up real well out here. And I go in and ask, we can do so much. Let me go out. You can go in and run on your vital scan and you can just check your hormones. And when the hormones are over 40%, then you know that you have an imbalance in there that we need to work on. And now if it's underneath a lower section, then that's something else. Remember that it gives us the numbers 2, 3, and 4, which mean that they are a chronic issue, 7, 8, and 9, that it is an acute issue that needs to be dealt with. We can do quite a few things with this modality, but our hormones, if they are not straight within our body's not going to function properly. Is that correct? Does everybody understand that aspect, that if our hormones are not functioning correctly? Okay, let's see if Debbie can get back in from New Zealand. Let's see. When we remove, and I don't know why a lot of practitioners aren't doing this, I don't understand this, but when you work with yourself, when you work with clients, when you work with family and friends, no matter what, when you pull something negative out of somebody, please put positive words and positive affirmations back in. Because if you remove something, per se, I am weak and pathetic, and you just leave it in there and don't fill it with something like, I am filled with peace and joy, I am humble within myself. If we don't feel those negative spots, remember that more negativity. Oh, you just can't see. It's still not working, Debbie. I am sorry. If you have a question that you would like to ask about anything with the emotion code, body code, the belief code, health, supplements, oils, whatever it is, whatever question you have about health, let's go over it. Because the more we talk, the more we learn, the more we grow, and that allows us to be able to go together a little bit easier. When you work on deeper health issues, let's say somebody comes to you with a really bad health issue, you still want to go out. You don't want to get overwhelmed by all the stuff that's out there because there's so many things, but you want to write down what the top imbalances are for that disease. And then you need to go in and you need to look a little deeper. Remember that disconnections can happen anywhere within the body. And usually when there are disconnections, not every time, there is a trauma based within there. And the trauma could have actually occurred 6 to 12 months prior to this imbalance happening. Because at times, depending on how the body processes things, it's going to take a wee bit for it to get to where it's traumatic. Yes, it's vibrating back here when it happened. But when these things happen, this is our flight, fight, and freeze. When these things happen, our responses, that somatic, enteric, and central nervous system is supposed to automatically shut back off. But if our adrenal glands are exhausted and our body is locked in flight, fight, and freeze, this frontal lobe goes to this back lobe where it is just in the primitive mode, and it only allows certain systems to function, and they don't work at 100%. Now, I know everybody thinks some of these little handhold things are really silly, but the thing is that they work. So when you find yourself not being able to think, you've got brain fog, you've got all this adrenaline, cortisol, and noradrenaline just racing at you, take your 2 fingers, remember, rub, get your energy flowing. You've got to have the energy flowing. Do you feel the heat coming off your hands? Yes. Shake off the negative. Put these 2s like this, put them on your temple. You want these 2 right on the side of your temples. And then put these 3 fingers right across that neurovascular point. Remember, there's a lot of meridians that run through here, but all the vascular runs through here. So when you hold this, it's just not, oh, I'm just going to hold it, la-di-da-di-da. It's breathe in. Get your energy moving. You will feel it. And once your body, because at first, when you start using techniques, your body's going to go, holy cow, what is she doing? What are you doing? But what happens when the body gets used to you being able to move your energies by putting your fingers there? It will go, and you will feel the tingle go through your head. Now, when your neurovascular points are also flying like that, don't forget to hold behind your ears with your middle points. Remember, this is the vagus nerve. And if that doggone somatic nervous system is flying that hard, we need to calm the vagus nerve down. It's all about little techniques and learning how to eat properly, take the proper foods, how to work the proper techniques, and how to get things done. When you're working, let's say somebody has an imbalance in their chest area. Look inside that heart chakra. Is that heart chakra happy? Is the thymus gland happy? Are all the parts within the lungs happy? Remember, it's just not one thing. A lot of times people that have a little chest pain, their diaphragms are tight. And they don't realize that they're not taking big breaths. They're shallow breathing. So the more shallow breathing we do, what happens? That diaphragm tightens up. So you want to put your hands, I don't know if you can see this, but you want to put your hands, let me just get my boo honey up. You want to put your hands right here, right? That's where your diaphragm is. You want to pull it in and you want to suck your elbows in. Breathe in and pull in even harder. Let it out, a little more air. Pull in again. Breathe out again, pull in again. Do that 3 times, excuse me, and it will allow that diaphragm to relax and then there's not as much pressure on your chest. Does that make sense? Did you feel any air moving? Can you feel that? If you've ever had a tight chest, there are so many things that we can do to go deeper. Even when people have blood pressure issues and other issues, we're not going to sit here and talk an hour about issues, but there are so many health issues that we can have that we can do so much about, and people don't think that we can. You have to have the right intuition. So these modalities can do so much for you. It's just a matter of learning. So what I have everybody do is to start with the emotion code. That is the biggest hurdle, and then keep going. So does anybody have any questions at anything that they're having trouble with their health or with anything else that they would like to ask a question about? Don't be,
Ladies,
no judgment here. Dave?
well, you and I have experienced a lot of this here lately. So we'll be in the herbal store just
Mhm.
picking up things, and someone will come in and say, well, I tested for bubonic plague and I need X, Y, Z, F, and G. And so they get this $400 to $500 order. The sales clerk's all happy, and da 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 da. And then it's like, excuse me, um, who told you that you had this, and who told you that you needed all of this? Have you asked your body if it's ready for the healing, and are the things that you are getting ready to purchase really for your highest good? Because again, it's an herbal store. Yes, everything's healthy there. And food for dead presidents is
Totally.
right. So again, those individuals need to take the time and do their muscle testing, even if it's the sway test, to ascertain which ones they do need, and not only which ones, but how many of, not the whole bottle in a day, a week, whatever, to help break it up. But we see that all the time.
Well,
in the
you see me interrupt really quick and in a hurry. The herb store down here doesn't, I
I
don't know if
will,
it's not appreciate, they don't like, one day we were in there and this little lady, and they just do this, she had one imbalance and they were trying to sell her 7 different types of holistics when it all came into one. And they knew it all came into one. So you have to really check what you're doing, how you're doing it, and what your muscle testing doing. Don't just assume. Like if I were to go in and tell you, for say if you have a health issue, and we brought up the herb book, and the herb book tells us you need these many supplements, you need 10 vitamins, you need 15 herbs, you need all this food, you need to do this detox, you need to do this, and you're going, wait a minute. That's where this comes in, and you muscle test what is proper for you and what is not, because not every regimen is going to be for you.
right. It's similar in the fact that the holistics, just like Western medicine in a pill or a capsule, does not work all the same for everybody. Every individual is unique. Like Debbie, so unique, she finally got her camera on.
Yay!
So yeah, we see that a lot, and just the inconsistency of the people that work there. They have the look that the owner wants, but sometimes they just fall short in the knowledge department.
So what he's trying to tell you is when you go to holistic stores and to other regimes that are out in the world like that, they are going to try to push other things upon you. That is why muscle testing plays such a major key and role into what you're doing. And that's also another thing about the AO scanner. You can test 3 different times in a day, morning, midday, and evening, which herbs you actually need or which homeopathics you need that you have programmed or that are already programmed in there for you. And you can imprint sugar pellets, juice, whatever, and take it down. And it's over with. It saves a lot of money. I probably have close to $3,000 worth of herbs and oils here because my upline, one of the reasons every time something occurs, my upline, oh, you need to buy 5 of this, 5 of that, and then I have tons of things left. So make sure you know what you're doing and how you do it, and make sure you're okay with it. One of my new diagnoses that they kind of messed up on is it's not PMR that I've been dealing with for a year and a half. It's actually Lyme disease. So Jennifer, when you hit out today about Lyme disease, there's a lot involved in that. So have you found anything that is working in your perspective from what you see and what you do?
So this was first time I worked with someone with Lyme disease. It's actually a friend of my mom's. So the woman's 72 years old. She never was aware of any tick bites. She doesn't live in an area where she was potentially exposed, but she did test positive for Lyme disease. So my mom, who likes to pawn me off on all her friends and helping them, had me do a session with her, and I told her I'd never done this before. I think, there could be potential for helping. We just did one session, and I did focus on the pathogen there. I did the nervous system, so which areas of the nervous system,
Right.
and I think that I did with her.
Okay. Did you see where I told you about checking the brain patterns also? Because it will affect that. And Lyme disease actually has a trigger in it that can affect face paralysis. And
Mhm.
they may not feel that right away. And it may just feel like a numb little tingling to them, but it actually can paralyze the skin due to it. She doesn't have any type of red rash anywhere. So is hers in the chronic stages at this point?
I don't know the extent of the history. I know that recently she was testing to see if she'd be a candidate for hyperbaric treatment.
Oh, okay.
And they went in and then they busted her eardrum. So now she has another problem on top
Oh,
of it.
Lord have mercy. Lord,
Now she can't hear out of her ear on one of her ears.
Um,
Mhm. So I told her we could probably see if we can do anything to help with the healing.
yes, you
of the
can, you
eardrum and
can,
everything. But I don't know if I told her we could
Be open.
continue, but she lives in Pennsylvania. And I told her about the distance and, explaining the distance energy healing to anybody, like, they're like, okay, I got you first. They're understanding me. As soon as I say I can do it from a distance, they're like, okay, see you
Let me
later.
check out.
Yeah.
You can tell them, this is how I explain it, because Jennifer, I do a lot overseas. Today I did a young lady in Sicily in the middle of a sailboat in the middle of the ocean.
Mhm.
It's just, and how you explain it to them, and it may be difficult, but when we connect to that energy, the divine comes through us and allows our subconscious to actually connect to their subconscious. If they know about Reiki, they know how we can go in and touch and adjust, right?
Mhm.
So just like we can go in and touch and adjust, like if I were to put an essential oil on my hands, rubbed it together and send Reiki to all of you, you'd be able to taste
Mhm.
the essential oil. So to get them to understand that it is subconsciously connecting to the energy of the field, and that we can actually see, be detectives, so to speak, to find what imbalance is laying within them. You can show them the thing with magnets, how they connect and how they fight against one another. There's, I know there was a really cool way, this little tiny, she was in her 80s, talking to Dr. Brad about this. Dave, I don't know if you remember what Dr. Brad said to her. He was very poignant with her, and she just goes, well, are you just going to get in there and see all the time? Because that's what some people think. They think once you connected that energy, you can get in there and do that anytime.
Yeah.
We need to let people know that the only time we are allowed to go into your subconscious is when we're connecting with you to do work with your permission and understanding that we're going to put intention for healing and wellness to be present at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of people have to kind of be open to that. Like if they're not open, like it's really just a closed door there.
Right.
I do think, I wish there was, because I know Dr. Nelson has a video, like a 3-minute video, and it's older. I don't know when it was, when they made it, of explaining emotion code. And I feel like that's how I send that video to people, just to
Oh,
explain
okay.
it.
That's
But
good.
but there's nothing that shows about the distance, like how distance testing is. Like if there was a video that like a,
Let
it
me
has to be
check.
5 minutes or under, because people aren't going to watch anything that's going to be more than 5
Oh, Lord have mercy, no.
minutes.
3 minutes is a long time to
Get
study.
somebody's attention. Let me check. Is that one on? Let me check if the one on my website says about proxy. But I remember he did do one, because several people could not understand. But Jennifer, that was like 16, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
So let me see what I can find. Let me write myself a note.
Like and then body code, there's one that's like a 15-minute, which is, kind of long, you kind of lose people
Yes.
on that one. But the one that I typically, I'll see if I can show you on my phone, is
That one where Dr.
this
Brad's
one.
desert. He's like in front of a mountain.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one I have
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that explains the emotion code well,
the emotion code?
But he
but
doesn't say anything about proxy.
nothing about proxy. And
Let me
that
see if
feel
I
like-
can find anything. I don't even know if Josh has something out. Let me find out. I'll even ask John Drinkwater if he's seen anything. There's and it is hard for people to understand that type of conception, that you can actually do that at a distance. But when they're on the phone with you or in front of you and they can feel that energy change, that's when the real magic happens.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that, I mean, I usually try to tell them, there's the physical world and then there's the energy world, and it's
Right.
totally different. Physical world, you do need to be in person. The energy world, you don't. I
Right.
try to explain, the idea that, when you're close with somebody, you have that intuition that something's wrong with them.
Right.
There's a connection there beyond your understanding, but there's a connection. So I try to use those type of scenarios to try to, because people use the terms of energy all the time,
Oh, yes.
don't realize how much that, they actually do understand it, but like it's almost, still abstract with it.
Yes. And we still have so much yet to learn about it. I mean, there are many. How many different modalities do you actually do now, Jennifer?
I mean, my main modalities is I do the Moscatova method, which is a primary reflex integration technique. I would say that, and I combine it. So that's where I say I work on the neurophysiological body, and then I work on your energy body.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Does anybody else have a question about something that they have questions about in the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual aspects of health, about homeopathics, about techniques, about a malady, an imbalance? Don't hesitate to ask. That's what we're here for.
Donna, you're just waiting to ask a question.
Do you have a
Who?
question? I think he's talking to you.
Me?
Yeah,
My
he's talking to you. You got a question?
Oh, Wait,
No, I'm just trying to take all this in.
Okay.
I'm sure that there's something in your hip pocket that you want to put out there.
This is overwhelming for me at best. It's overwhelming.
There's
It's,
nothing with that. You
you
absorb
know,
and then the rest.
it's just, and then, I'm not 100% yet. And so I'm like, my
Mhm.
head's in a fog. And so, yeah, am I catching 100% of this? Absolutely not. So I'm dazed and confused at best. And so-
Well, when
but,
you start this kind of stuff, it is kind of confusing. It's overwhelming. There are so many attributes to things that you can do. I mean, it never stops. Never.
I'm-
It evolves all the time. I'm kind of surprised at times at the things that you think, okay, I've learned enough, and then whoo, here comes in something else, and it says, oh no, wait a minute, girl, you need to take this class too. And it's like,
right.
Lord have mercy, I'm taking 5 classes already. I don't know how many classes y'all take at one time, but 5 classes and working on people all day is a lot to do. But it's so beautiful to learn the different knowledge to teach you. Like with Solex, they have every week they've got new training coming out and add new attributes and features to this machine. And sometimes it's a little bit much, because if you can go in, per se, you can go in and you can run your chromosomes, and inside each chromosome is a DNA marker, correct?
Yes.
So each one of those DNA markers have different imbalances that can occur within your body. So you can literally go in to the chromosome, into that DNA marker, find out which marker is causing the imbalance or could cause the imbalance or is inherited, shared, absorbed into your body, and you can remove them.
Wow. Okay.
And you can, I mean, it's just, there's so much that we can do, but people are afraid, and I don't blame them for being afraid. This is a lot of new information that's coming forward. Some of this information has been around since the 1920s, 1930s, and even before that. But people, in our past, in our generations past, they didn't have doctors, or they had very rare or very few, and they used holistics. They didn't use all these synthetic drugs, which cause even more massive imbalances upon our bodies, or give you the wrong drug and make it even more harder for your body to come back from. It used to not be, and there's my used to not business, that they'd put a Band-Aid on it and send you away. In the olden days, they would make sure that things were taken care of. They cared about people. Now, since all of this with COVID happened, I'm finding that doctors and nurses and other people in the white coat field, I mean, people behind the desk, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, are really tired. They're exhausted. They're unapproachable. They are kind of rude sometimes. And it's just really sad what's going on right now. So we need to be our best advocates. So if I were to tell you to be a best advocate, I would get a nutritional healing book for yourself. I would get Medical Medium's book on different types of things that you can utilize to break down. He gives food. I mean, it's amazing some of the stuff he has in here. I cannot watch him too long because he's just too flighty for me. The next thing I would have is I would learn how to do energy medicine with your hands. I mean, it is simply amazing to use if you've got pain, instead of going in and flipping, taking a pill, to utilize the emotion code and body code, to use magnets, to use your fingers, to be able to assist your body, to learn where you need to touch, to be able to balance it, whether you need to implement numbers, whether you need to work on your aura, whether you need to work on toxicities. The toxicities coming at us from everywhere is beyond ridiculous nowadays. It's past beyond. And so we have got all of this heavy metals, all this agricultural toxins, the toxins coming up out of the ground, radium, thorium. There's just so much. How are we supposed to keep our bodies healthy? Our bodies struggle, right? So one of the main things that we can do, besides learning how to run our meridians and doing a daily energy techniques, is to always work on your immune system. Always be confident with it. And let me see if I can bring this. Let me see if I can do this. I'm not real good. Let it go. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Let me have it. I'm just learning how to do this, so I'm not real great with this yet, and I pardon me, but
It's just the time on the mountain.
there we go. When we work with a client, when we work with anybody, now I have a huge thing here about food. Food is so very important, and one of the things we can do for food, and everybody knows I preach about this, is the nutrition for our very own blood type. On these, you can go to Google and type in your blood type, and it will tell you what is neutral, what is beneficial, what to avoid, what is acidic, what's not healthy for you to eat. It will also give you specific remedies. It will give you maintenance supplements to keep that blood type functioning properly. It will give you strength. It will give you weaknesses. It's amazing. And then I have Lana Nelson's food book. It's so important to have their food book, because of the simple fact, you know, we can eat so many things. Oops, and I went on the wrong spot, sorry. And if we are not eating the proper things, no matter what we eat, it's not going to be healthy for our body, correct?
Correct. You're
Okay.
talking food codes.
Food codes. Thank you. Food codes. Now, I have it at the end of this, and if you work with me, that's something we work with, because people, as we see now in the United States, and it's going across the world, that people are not eating well and our bodies are retaining the weight. So they're trying to do silly things to lose weight. We need to actually properly lose weight and properly know how to take care of our bodies so it doesn't happen. When we eat too much, our liver and our pancreas, if they're already struggling, they are not going to be able to break down that glucagon, so that glucagon goes out into your tissues, and then we have more problems. It's a big thing. So when you work with me, one of the things that we do, and if I don't use her food codes, I will do this, because Dr. Brad finally put this in. It's got your nutrients. So what does your body need? Does it need more antioxidants? We all could use more antioxidants within our body. Do we need zinc? Many of us could. But it's a thing is, we go in to ask, does my body need something? Does it require one of these nutrients? Always. Then we can go into actual foods And it will tell us, and there's a big list of
Mhm.
what foods does my body actually need. Now, if you work with the food codes and with getting your blood type 1 on Google, there's a lot more. But you can go in and muscle test what your body needs right now at this very time currently. It doesn't mean what it's going to mean tomorrow. It might need something else. Okay, it doesn't mean what it needed in the past. It's right this second, whether it's emotional, mental, physical, or spiritual. You still need to listen to your body. Superfoods. It's all in here. I'm so glad that he put this in
Get
here.
out of your mouth.
So there's so many things that we can utilize to help ourselves do this and how we need to do it. Do we need to eat it together? Is it something that shouldn't go together? Everybody thinks they can take their herbs and their medication at the same time, but you cannot. Herbs and medication need to be taken 2 hours apart. And some holistics you cannot take with others. So if you're just putting all your holistics together in one little jigger and you're going to slot them down for that day, you better make sure that they are supposed to go together, because that can cause a problem also. And then it actually goes in and it shows what proteins we need. We are lacking in protein when we do not have enough muscle mass. And if we are to where we are debilitated a little bit, we're not absorbing properly, then we need to look at some different aspects within our body. Now, herbs, oops, it went to there first, my best. I hit the wrong one. And then it goes into herbs and spices. I don't know about you all, but I muscle test what's going to go in my food. That's why David said when we go to the grocery store, he doesn't like me going with, because I'm always muscle testing everything. And then it takes us forever to get through the grocery store. But I know if it's going to work or if it's not going to work. So what if you needed coriander seed and it wasn't the right kind? There's more than one kind, right? Muscle test for each one, because you'll be really surprised. Your subconscious will pick out the one that's for your highest good. So per se, somebody tells you, oh, to use this brand, I always use this brand. So you believe them and you use it, and it doesn't work for your body, and then you go back at them. But did you bother muscle testing to see if it was good for yourself or not? Maybe, maybe not. So essential oils. These are just a very, very, very few. Now, I only use 2 kinds of essential oils. Those are Nature Sunshine and Young Living. Those are the only kinds I use. Now, we know that with essential oils, you can use them from A to Z with any malady, except we can use them in different formats for those maladies. So per se, just per se, somebody was having a circulatory issue, right? And they couldn't get enough oxygen up to their heart. So what would you suggest? Can anybody tell me what they would suggest? One thing, peppermint. Peppermint helps, right? It gives it out there. Another thing you can also do is beets. How many of you have utilized or heard about beets to help circulation and oxygenation of the blood? Yes?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Is there anything else that you can think of? Many people, I don't know why it's coming up like this on my share screen. Don't ask me. Let me go back and see if I can redo it. I don't know why it's doing it like that. Try it again. Oh, this doggone thing. I'm going to scream.
The joys of living on a mountain.
Oh, it is so fun. It's going to go right back to it, you doggone thing. Okay, whatever, man. Whatever. Come on, let me have it. Now we know that we can have parasites within our body, and it didn't let me have it. You sucker. Is it gonna let me have it? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Woo!
Well, there you go.
Okay. We all know that we can have many different types of parasites within our body, right? Some parasites are good, but many of them are not. So with the AO scanner, it will tell you every single solid parasite you've got in your body. It will also tell you whether it's acute or chronic, but most people don't ever think that they have parasites. Parasites are everywhere, especially in pork. So they don't realize and don't put that muscle aches or fatigue or any of these things going on could have to do with parasites. And we really need to pay heed. We do 2 cleanses a month, and this is, or not a month, wax off, a year, because you just never know. Now, another thing that is big that people don't realize is this one right here. Candida is a booger bear to get rid of. A booger bear. It can stay in some people's body for a very long time. But if you've got a fungus among us, there are so many things that could go on. And then these are just some of the associations. So if your gut microbiome is not happy, it's going to show up on your skin. It's going to show up in your lungs. It's going to show up in your gut. It's going to show up in your colon. It's going to show up in your sinuses, in your brain, in your mouth, with your teeth. There is nothing that it does not affect. It affects everything. And then when you have energies and all this other stuff tied in with it, then you've got even more going on. So does anybody have any questions about something that they're having a problem with, working on anybody with, or anything?
I have I've been working on breathing through my nose. I have a deviated septum, so it doesn't help things. But I mean, I have a I wouldn't say addiction, but I would say I'm stuck on having to use a nasal spray at night just to breathe at night. And it does wear off in the middle of the night. And you know, I've
Sure.
done lots and lots and lots of releases and relating, but I know it's I've been to an ENT. It says they said I have my, you know, I have a narrow nose already, but
Right.
the turbinates in my nose are inflamed or swollen.
Okay.
And so they're recommending that I go in and do, like, they shave down the turbinates and fix the deviated septum. And you know, I'm like, I've done so much for my nose. I'm almost like I might have to do this because I'm tired like I wake up tired.
Right, I'm sure you do. So have you done any energy techniques around your face, around your nose?
I mean, I'll do just kind of working on kind of doing like opening of the sinuses, just with
Mhm.
light touch and
Come
everything.
right down here across from your nasal pharynges and just, is that sore right here? And I mean apply pressure. And you go all the way up. Have you ever heard of clear strips? There's something that you don't have to utilize. But did you go back to the trauma of when this occurred, Jennifer?
I personally think when I was new working at one of the schools I was at, I would get like chronic sinus infections, and I wasn't really doing anything for it. I would just get, you know, so, and I mean, I remember just be like, it'd be so
swollen.
swollen. I feel like there would be water balloons in there. I didn't really
Mhm.
take many antibiotics or anything, but it just was like that all the time. And I don't know if I've created like it, like if there's a recovery interference or something that's
There's
not
definitely
working.
something in there. There's a toxicity in there.
I'm sure the nose spray isn't helping, you know.
No, not at all in any way, shape, or form. It eats
It's-
that little bone. There's many things that we can do, but working on the trauma itself, there's something behind that. There's something was at the school at the time. Was there mold?
I'm sure. I mean, I'm in Florida, so there's probably
Oh,
mold.
probably a ton, huh? So have you done any mold detoxes?
No, like as far as what would be involved in a mold detox.
There's several things. There's several different kinds, but if you've never, we can talk about that off there. There's a lot that you can do. That's probably too deep to even bring. Muscle test for me right now while you're sitting here. Just go into yourself. Ask if this started with a mold toxicity.
No,
There's something in there. Do you mind if I check?
Hmm?
Environmental. Are you around agricultural there, Jennifer?
not so much.
Not so much.
Mm-mm. There's no farms or.
What have they been spraying fungicides and rodenticides within that school?
Well, I'm not at that. I mean, this was.
Yeah, I know you're not there now,
Hmm.
but if they were spraying that then, that can get stuck within your tissue. You can absorb that. And
Yeah.
that inflammation energy will stay right where it is until you release all of the layers that go with it.
Okay.
And there will be a lot. Check for a total disconnection within. Not just from the deviated septum. Go in and get the skeletal, the muscular, the nerves. Make sure you check the fascia, the biofilm, and any bones within. And it's saying something else, but I'm not quite catching him. Can you just slow down a little bit, please? Thank you.
Loki.
Go into the somatic. And go into the central nervous system. Make sure the vasomotor part of the cerebellum is functioning. Make sure all of the cranial nerves with the nose are functioning and they're all connected. Make sure the amygdala is connected also, and make sure they are all connected with each other. There's some kind of tear within there. And the toxin is what is tearing it. And there will be some stuck energies within it, Jennifer. Broadcast will to, no will to, despair anchors, physical allergies, idea allergies.
All right, I got some work to do.
Sorry, I just probably I overwhelm people because I give too much, but I'd rather you know more than not know it all.
Mhm.
And if you
Okay.
have any questions, don't hesitate. That's what I'm here to bounce them off of. And that's how we learn and grow.
So when you say like, do what I would check muscular for within the face.
Mm-hmm. To make sure that they are all aligned, there's nothing disconnected, and make sure they're all talking to one another. And ask about the nose chakra, ask about the eye chakra. It's just not about the brow chakra. Remember, our bones have chakras also. The muscles will have chakras within them that may just be off a little bit. Make sure the aura of that area is vibrant, internal and external. Make sure it's just not a spiritual imbalance.
Okay. I don't know where to begin here.
You just ask God for your, when he comes through you, you just ask, for your highest good, which one do you start with? And he will guide you which one you start with.
So for the deviated septum, is that something that can correct without having surgery?
I always believe in miracles. Isn't that terrible? I always believe in miracles. I do not see why we cannot, through energy and through Reiki, bring healing on its own. I mean, there's got to be scar tissue in there also, and you can you can come in and remove scar tissue like this and then cross. I've been removing scar tissue out of my lungs. And I didn't think it was working, but when they did my chest x-ray a couple months ago, they asked me, what are you doing to get rid of that scar tissue? Scar tissue is not supposed to be able to be removed. But Donna Eden teaches us, or taught us, how to help promote that scar tissue. Remember, if we take vitamin E with selenium, it will also fight the free scavengers that eats up that scar tissue. There's so many things that we can do. Geranium is also something that you can apply with a little bit of coconut oil to help break it down.
Okay. I mean, peppermint can be helping like with,
The whole
opening up.
9 yards.
but it's very temporary,
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
It's not
sure
as
it
good as
is
my spray. My spray is like, I can
very
breathe.
temporary. Have you seen those little nasal strips that go on at night that you don't have to, or
I
does that drive you
have,
crazy?
I mean, and I think part of it is, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I even have a whole facial asymmetry. So I don't think it's at just my nose, like my eye alignment, my
Okay.
creases and everything
Mhm.
is shifted that,
Mhm.
it just gives me a big redness and it doesn't, I did that
So
for,
have you gone in, remember how the plates of our skull are, right? They're not all one piece, but everybody thinks that plates of our skull are one piece, correct?
Mhm.
So what we can do, and this is another, we can rub our hand and get that energy going. You want to shake the negative energy off, put your hand here, and you want to be sitting because this has a tendency to make people pass out. Start here and go all the way around and then come all the way back here. Put your energy across this and allow that neurovascular point to come back. Allow these bones to actually shift and get rid of the stagnant energy because it can shift. So anywhere on your skull that it hurts, you can put positive energy in anywhere on your body. You can put positive energy in. Have you ever used a magnet?
No, not here. I don't even,
We can do that. And I already took mine inside. You can use north and south magnets to rid of pain and help pull things
when you
together.
do magnet, like how long do you hold it over? Like, do you?
I'm a little weird. I wear mine probably a little longer than I should. Sometimes I wear them to bed at night. That's the south side of a magnet that Dave's holding, and then the black one is the north side. So you would put the south here and the north here, and you would just breathe. Now, sometimes it will make it literally throb because the energy is so great within there.
Oh.
And
So where
you,
did you get those
Amazon.
ones?
Yep.
Because the Nikon ones, I ended up getting like, it's a little tiny round thing. I don't feel like it has much power to it at all.
No, my Nikon one that they used to sell many, many moons ago,
Yeah.
are like this, and it's all taped together. But Jennifer, we really don't need them because our hands are magnetic.
Yeah.
You can use any refrigerator magnet. The magnets that Dave has, I can send you the link if you want.
Yeah.
But
So you would hold it on the two sides of your
I would
nose?
hold it and put the third one here, and just as I'm doing my neurovasculars, I would just hold it and breathe and just start working with it slowly. You can also take magnets, and I have a huge one that if my pain is too heavy, I spin it and it will pop my pain out. But I've been playing with this stuff playing. I've been using this stuff a long time. So, I know that it works. There's just so many beautiful things that we can do. Don't ever lose hope that you can't balance it. Don't ever. Because we can do amazing things with this stuff. Amazing. Have you ever used numbers to help breathe?
Numbers?
Lloyd Mears numbers. Have you ever heard of Lloyd Mears?
Mm-mm.
He is gone now. He was the sweetest, kindest little man. And he taught us about utilizing numbers. You know how you see flashes of numbers, 111, 333. You see this all the time. Lloyd Mears, and let's see, where's my book at? Sorry, it is dark. I have a really big book. And I'm sure you can still get it, even though he's passed. I'm sure his publishing company still has it. And it is from A to Z, all the different things that you can utilize numbers for. And it has, do you see, I'm sorry, I was afraid to pull on and have all those books fall over. And have sometimes, like, I was working on my fibro one day and I couldn't get anything to come up that I needed. So I said, is there something in any of the modalities that I have? So I can do this with my hand with Reiki and it'll shake if something's for me. So I went over and it took me to my balancing with numbers. And there was actually several numbers within there for my fibromyalgia. So I started journaling. Well, the next few days, that's all I saw was those numbers anywhere I went. It's amazing that things are not coincidental. Is that one of his?
That's not one of Lloyd's.
Oh, there's several people that do numbers, but Lloyd Mears is the best. LLOYDMEARS. He was a really awesome man.
Okay.
And I
My
last
husband-
I got anything was like a few months ago from somebody that was still running his publication that came out with some more numbers.
That's not anything like sacred geometry?
No, it's just Lloyd's works. And he would use a defining rod it's really cool some of the stuff he did. But there's so many things that we can do. Don't ever lose hope, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, if you guys like this, we can do this one time a month, but apparently we need to do it on another day. So if anybody wants to send to me what days, what times work for them, I can go a little bit later, not much later, because it's late on the East Coast, and get us set up to where we can talk and discuss about different things that you need to help your lives be better, or, anything, A to Z. That's what we're here for. How's that sound?
Awesome.
Okay, cool beans. Everybody do you have any more questions? You're cool to go? Okay, I'll let you go for tonight. God bless you all and have an absolutely beautiful day tomorrow.
Thank you, Cynthia.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good night.